what was it about this project? What was the inspiration for a female character that's so immersed in this really challenging situation of being involved with the mob and being a surgeon?
You know, I guess so. We both worked together on Drop Dead Diva, and it's the show that Josh created, and we had Jamie Lynn Sigler, who played Meta Soprano on The Sopranos, and as a guest on Diva, and we got to thinking, you know, what would it be like if we actually had followed somebody like that, somebody like Meta Soprano, as she went into medical school, right? Because it provides a great contrast within character of somebody who is both a doctor, the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm, and you know, in the mob, where there's no honor among thieves. So it's not just simply two different elements, they're two diametrically opposed elements in one character. And we thought that would be really, really fascinating to explore.
I think I so enjoy writing complicated women, and on Drop Dead Diva, we have two women living one life, and now in The Mob Doctor, we have one woman living two lives. And I love the juxtaposition of these two absolutely diametrically opposed worlds that both have real tugs on our central character.
It's interesting, too, to think of the difference between a show like this, which seems like it might be incredibly dramatic, compared to Drop Dead Diva. But for you guys, what's it like making that sort of jump? I'm sure you just like to keep your creative chops a little active.
I think emotions are real, whether they're told through comedy or drama. At the end of the day, I want to tell stories. We want to tell stories that will move the viewers. And whether it's through laughs on Drop Dead Diva or this crazy situation that a woman has gotten herself into on The Mob Doctor, at the end of the day, when a viewer leaves after that 1 hour that they've so nicely given to us, I want them to feel something.
Sure.
And that's kind of what we hope in our best episodes the viewers will take away.
And I'm very curious, why Chicago? Why set and shoot in Chicago?
Chicago, you know, three reasons. Firstly, as Michael Denner, who directed the pilot, and he's still an executive producer on the show, has said there's no bad angle in Chicago. Chicago's a gorgeous city. You've got the river, you've got the lakes, you've got the fantastic architecture there. Secondly, it's the home of you know, Al Capone. So if you're doing a mob show, there's just such history of the mob there. And finally, you know, the Chicago outfit is still alive and you know, well in Chicago. It's taken on a different form. It's not exclusively you know, like the outfit of old where it was exclusively Italian American. They say about the outfit, you know, there's no real color except for green as long as you're bringing in money. So it allows us to it allows us to explore sort of the mob in 2012, which is
interesting. You're stepping into a role that was vacated by House, kind of, with a controversial doctor. How does it feel to be kind of picking up the reins on Fox and bringing a different type of controversial doctor to the audience?
Well, I try not to think about that too much because House was such a great show for so many years that those are some pretty big shoes to fill. So I try not to put that pressure on myself. But I do think it's really fun that we get to be a little bit controversial, that we get to kind of embrace a character that is a little bit morally conflicted, make some choices that some people might question, and that it's driven by a female protagonist. I think that's going to be, I mean, it's fun for me, so hopefully it resonates with a few other people.
Yeah, it's actually interesting to think of a woman being in the role of having to make these really challenging and difficult choices. How have you embraced that as an actress?
Well, I was able to, you know, first of all, it's just doing, you know, the preparation stuff and shadowing a surgeon and trying to do as much research as I can on the mob world, short of, you know, shadowing a hit or something, you know. But you know, so there's that, and then it's just sort of really understanding where she's coming from, and that initially it starts from a place of just really trying to do all this to save her family.
And you've been involved in shows that have taken place in Chicago before.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have your home be Chicago once again?
It's incredible. It's incredible. It was funny because with My Boys, the show I did for 4 years in Chicago, we got to go so rarely, and so it was it had this like really warm place in my heart, but I never actually really got to get to know it too well, and so it's wonderful to be there now. I just love the city.
And let me ask you one last thing: is there a favorite spot in Chicago that you just love to be able to go to?
I'm crazy about this restaurant called The Girl and the Goat. It's unbelievable. So if you're in Chicago, you have to go.